Welcome back to Bible Quizzes. We have a set of true or false questions today. Let's get started. 1. God created plants on the fourth day. False. Genesis 1:11-13. Then God said, "Let the earth bring forth grass, that herb that yields seed, and the fruit tree that yields fruit, according to its kind on the earth." And it was so. And the evening and the morning were the third day. 2. Numbers is the fourth book of the Bible. True. The order of the Pentateuch places Numbers as the fourth book after Genesis, Exodus, and Leviticus. 3. Noah had a son named Ham. True. Genesis 5:32. And Noah was 500 years old, and Noah begot Shem, Ham, and Japheth. 4. Enoch lived for 365 years before God took him. True. Genesis 5:23-24. So all the days of Enoch were 365 years, and Enoch walked with God, and he was not, for God took him. 5. Pharaoh's wife hardened his heart not to let the Israelites go. True or false? False. Exodus 8:15. But when Pharaoh saw that there was relief, he hardened his heart and did not heed them, as the Lord had said. 6. Jezebel applied makeup to present herself to Jehu. True. 2 Kings 9:30. Now when Jehu had come to Jezreel, Jezebel heard of it, and she put paint on her eyes and adorned her head and looked through a window. 7. Jephthah made the sun stand still. False. It was Joshua, not Jephthah, who made the sun stand still. Joshua 10:13. So the sun stood still and the moon stopped, till the people had revenge upon their enemies. 8. Miriam was struck by leprosy. True. Numbers 12:10. And when the cloud departed from above the tabernacle, suddenly Miriam became leprous, as white as snow. 9. Aaron died on Mount Nebo. False. Numbers 20:28. Moses stripped Aaron of his garments and put them on Eleazar his son, and Aaron died there on top of the mountain. 10. Moses made the bronze serpent. True. Numbers 21:9. So Moses made a bronze serpent and put it on a pole. And so it was, if a serpent had bitten anyone, when he looked at the bronze serpent, he lived. 11. Abraham died before Sarah. False. Sarah died before Abraham. Genesis 23:1-2. Sarah lived 127 years, so Sarah died in Kirjath Arba. 12. Adam had daughters. True. Genesis 5:4. After he begot Seth, the days of Adam were 800 years, and he had sons and daughters. 13. Pharaoh took Sarah, Abraham's wife. True. Genesis 12:15. The princes of Pharaoh also saw her and commended her to Pharaoh, and the woman was taken to Pharaoh's house. 14. Job was struck with boils. True. Job 2:7. So Satan went out from the presence of the Lord and struck Job with painful boils from the sole of his foot to the crown of his head. 15. Saul killed King Agag of the Amalekites. False. 1 Samuel 15:33. But Samuel said, As your sword has made woman childless, so shall your mother be childless among women. And Samuel hacked Agag in pieces before the Lord in Gilgal. 16. Saul attempted to kill David. True. 1 Samuel 18:11. And Saul cast the spear, for he said, I will pin David to the wall. But David escaped his presence twice. 17. Samson's wife was given to his close friend. True. Judges 14:20. And Samson's wife was given to his companion who had been his best man. 18. Solomon had 1,000 concubines. False. 1 Kings 11:3. And he had 700 wives, princesses, and 300 concubines, and his wives turned away his heart. 19. Peter circumcised Timothy. False. It was Paul who circumcised Timothy. Acts 16:3. Paul wanted to have him go on with him, and he took him and circumcised him because of the Jews who were in that region. 20. Jesus turned water into wine at a wedding in Jerusalem. False. John 2:1-2. On the third day, there was a wedding in Cana of Galilee, and the mother of Jesus was there. 21. David killed a lion. True. 1 Samuel 17:34-35. But David said to Saul, Your servant used to keep his father's sheep, and when a lion or a bear came and took a lamb out of the flock, I went out after it and struck it. 22. Rebekah was Leah's sister. False. Genesis 29:16. Now Laban had 2 daughters. The name of the elder was Leah, and the name of the younger was Rachel. 23. Laban treated Jacob kindly and honestly. False. Genesis 31:7. Yet your father had deceived me and changed my wages 10 times, but God did not allow him to hurt me. 24. God added 20 more years to King Hezekiah. False. Isaiah 38:5. I have heard your prayer. I have seen your tears. Surely I will add to your days 15 years. 25. God called Jeremiah to be a prophet before he was born. True. Jeremiah 1:5. Before I formed you in the womb, I knew you. Before you were born, I sanctified you. I ordained you a prophet to the nations. 26. John the Revelator wrote to 7 churches. True. Revelation 1:11. What you see, write in a book and send it to the 7 churches which are in Asia. 27. Joshua was commanded to remove his shoes because he was standing on holy ground. True. Joshua 5:15. Then the commander of the Lord's army said to Joshua, take your sandal off your foot, for the place where you stand is holy. 28. Jesus commanded that we should forgive 70 times. False. Matthew 18:22. Jesus said to him, I do not say to you up to 7 times, but up to 70 times 7. 29. Judas denied Jesus 3 times. False. Matthew 26:75. And Peter remembered the word of Jesus, who had said to him, before the rooster crows, you will deny me 3 times. 30. Balak had a conversation with the donkey. False. Numbers 22:28. Then the Lord opened the mouth of a donkey, and she said to Balaam, what have I done to you, that you have struck me these 3 times? 31. God killed the sons of Judah because they were wicked. True. Genesis 38:7. But Er, Judah's firstborn, was wicked in the sight of the Lord, and the Lord killed him. 32. Enoch was the 7th from Adam. True. Jude 1:14. Now Enoch, the 7th from Adam, prophesied about these men also. 33. Jesus told Peter to get money from a fish's mouth. True. Matthew 17:27. Take the fish that comes up first, and when you have opened its mouth, you will find a piece of money. 34. Joseph was sold for 17 pieces of gold. False. Genesis 37:28. So they pulled Joseph up and lifted him out of the pit and sold him to the Ishmaelites for 20 shekels of silver. 35. David pretended to be insane. True. 1 Samuel 21:13. So he changed his behavior before them, pretended madness in their hands, scratched on the doors of the gate, and let his saliva fall down on his beard. 36. Rachel was fertile and had many children. False. Rachel was initially barren. Genesis 31. Now when Rachel saw that she bore Jacob no children, Rachel envied her sister. 37. Amos saw the vision of 4 chariots of horses. False. Zechariah saw the vision of 4 chariots of horses. Zechariah 6:1. Then I turned and raised my eyes and looked, and behold, 4 chariots were coming. 38. Elijah healed Naaman from leprosy. False. It was Elisha, not Elijah. 2 Kings 5:10. And Elisha sent a messenger to him, saying, Go and wash in the Jordan 7 times. 39. Adam blamed Eve for the sin of eating the forbidden fruit. True. Genesis 3:12. Then the man said, The woman whom you gave to be with me, she gave me of the tree, and I ate. 40. Deborah was a prophetess in Israel. True. Judges 4:4. Now Deborah, a prophetess, the wife of Lapidoth, was judging Israel at that time. 41. The 7th commandment says, Do not steal. False. The 7th commandment says, You shall not commit adultery. Exodus 20:14. You shall not commit adultery. 42. Satan entered Judas after he ate the piece of bread Jesus gave him. True. John 13:27. Now after the piece of bread, Satan entered him. Then Jesus said to him, What you do, do quickly. 43. God attempted to kill Moses on his way to Egypt. True. Exodus 4:24. And it came to pass on the way at the encampment that the Lord met him and sought to kill him. 44. Moses married an Ethiopian woman. True. Numbers 12:1. Then Miriam and Aaron spoke against Moses because of the Ethiopian woman whom he had married, for he had married an Ethiopian woman. 45. John the Baptist was beheaded. True. Matthew 14:10. So he sent and had John beheaded in prison. 46. Joseph was contemplating leaving Mary when he realized she was pregnant. True. Matthew 1:19. Then Joseph, her husband, being a just man and not wanting to make her a public example, was minded to put her away secretly. 47. Joseph, the husband of Mary, was a fisherman. False. Matthew 13:55. Is this not the carpenter's son? Is not his mother called Mary? 48. Thomas was the disciple that was reluctant to have his feet washed by Jesus. False. It was Peter, not Thomas. John 13:8. Peter said to him, "You shall never wash my feet." 49. Jonah prophesied that Nineveh would be destroyed in 40 days. True. Jonah 3:4. And Jonah began to enter the city on the first day's walk. Then he cried out and said, "Yet 40 days, and Nineveh shall be overthrown." 50. Michal, Saul's daughter, was in love with David. True. 1 Samuel 18:20. Now Michal, Saul's daughter, loved David, and they told Saul, and the thing pleased him. 51. It is David who tore Samuel's robe. False. Saul tore Samuel's robe. 1 Samuel 15:27-28. And as Samuel turned around to go away, Saul seized the edge of his robe and tore. 52. Jezebel threatened to kill Elijah. True. 1 Kings 19:2. Then Jezebel sent a messenger to Elijah, saying, "So let the gods do to me, and more also, if I do not make your life as the life of one of them by tomorrow about this time." 53. Ravens brought meat to Elijah. True. 1 Kings 17:6. The ravens brought him bread and meat in the morning, and bread and meat in the evening, and he drank from the brook. 54. Obadiah hid 10,000 prophets in a cave. False. 1 Kings 18:4. For so it was, while Jezebel massacred the prophets of the Lord, that Obadiah had taken 100 prophets and hidden them 50 to a cave. 55. Jonathan had a son called Mephibosheth. True. 2 Samuel 4:4. Jonathan, Saul's son, had a son, Mephibosheth, who was lame in his feet. He was 5 years old when the news about Saul and Jonathan came from Jezreel, and his nurse took him up and fled. 56. Boaz was the husband of Ruth. True. Ruth 4:13. So Boaz took Ruth, and she became his wife. And when he went into her, the Lord gave her conception, and she bore a son. 57. The robe put on Jesus by the soldiers was white in color. False. The robe was scarlet, or purple in other accounts. Matthew 27:28. and they stripped him and put a scarlet robe on him. 58. Jesus' legs were broken on the cross. False. Jesus' legs were not broken. John 19:33. But when they came to Jesus and saw that he was already dead, they did not break his legs. 59. Jesus' side was pierced on the cross. True. John 19:34. But one of the soldiers pierced his side with a spear, and immediately blood and water came out. 60. The graves of the righteous saints were opened during Jesus' death on the cross. True. Matthew 27:52. And the graves were opened, and many bodies of the saints who had fallen asleep were raised. 61. Those who are double-minded cannot receive anything from God. True. James 1:7-8. For let not that man suppose that he will receive anything from the Lord. He is a double-minded man, unstable in all his ways. 62. The book of Obadiah has one chapter. True. The book of Obadiah has one chapter. 63. The book of Jude is in the Old Testament. False. Jude 1:1. Jude, a bondservant of Jesus Christ and brother of James, to those who are called, sanctified by God the Father, and preserved in Jesus Christ. 64. God placed a mark on Cain after he killed Abel. True. Genesis 4:15. And the Lord said to him, Therefore, whoever kills Cain, vengeance shall be taken on him sevenfold. And the Lord set a mark on Cain, lest anyone finding him should kill him. 65. Job had 7 daughters after his misfortune. False. Job had 7 sons and 3 daughters after his misfortune. Job 42:13. He also had 7 sons and 3 daughters. 66. Jeremiah cursed the day he was born. True. Jeremiah 20:14. Cursed be the day in which I was born. Let the day not be blessed in which my mother bore me. 67. Moses was buried by God. True. Deuteronomy 34:5-6. So Moses, the servant of the Lord, died there in the land of Moab, according to the word of the Lord, and he buried him in a valley in the land of Moab. 68. Jonah was angry with God for forgiving the people of Nineveh. True. Jonah 4:1. But it displeased Jonah exceedingly, and he became angry. 69. It is prophet Jeremiah who told Hezekiah about the years God had added to him. False. 2 Kings 25. And it happened, before Isaiah had gone out into the middle court, that the word of the Lord came to him, saying, Return and tell Hezekiah, the leader of my people, Thus says the Lord, the God of David your father. 70. Without faith, it is impossible to please God. True. Hebrews 11:6. But without faith it is impossible to please him. For he who comes to God must believe that he is, and that he is a rewarder of those who diligently seek him. 71. Paul was bitten by a poisonous viper. True. Acts 28:3. But when Paul had gathered a bundle of sticks and laid them on the fire, a viper came out because of the heat and fastened on his hand. 72. An angel delivered Peter from prison. True. Acts 12:7. Now, behold, an angel of the Lord stood by him, and a light shone in the prison, and he struck Peter on the side and raised him up, saying, Arise quickly, and his chains fell off his hands. 73. Stephen the martyr was hanged. False. Acts 7:59. And they stoned Stephen as he was calling on God and saying, Lord Jesus, receive my spirit. 74. Jesus healed people on the Sabbath. True. Luke 13:14. But the ruler of the synagogue answered with indignation because Jesus had healed on the Sabbath. 75. Jesus met the Samaritan woman in the synagogue. False. Jesus met the Samaritan woman at a well. John 4:7. A woman of Samaria came to draw water. Jesus said to her, Give me a drink. 76. Jesus' disciples healed the demon-possessed child. False. The disciples could not heal the demon-possessed child. Jesus healed him. Matthew 17:16-18. So I brought him to your disciples, but they could not cure him. Then Jesus answered and said, O faithless and perverse generation, how long shall I be with you? 77. Jesus called Herod a fox. True. Luke 13:32. And he said to them, Go, tell that fox, Behold, I cast out demons and perform cures today and tomorrow, and the third day I shall be perfected. 78. Jesus was buried in Nicodemus' tomb. False. Jesus was buried in Joseph of Arimathea's tomb. Matthew 27:59-60. When Joseph had taken the body, he wrapped it in a clean linen cloth and laid it in his new tomb, which he had hewn out of the rock. 79. Only the 5 foolish women in the parable of the 10 virgins slept. False. All 10 virgins slept. Matthew 25:5. But while the bridegroom was delayed, they all slumbered and slept. 80. In the parable of the sower, the seed that fell on the rocks yielded very little fruit. False. The seed that fell on the rocks did not yield fruit. Matthew 13:5-6. Some fell on stony place, and they immediately sprang up because they had no depth of the earth. But when the sun was up, and they were scorched, and because they had no root, they withered away. And that's all our questions today. Put your score down in the comments below and share this with your friends and family, and we will see you all in the next one.